They are. And why do I care? Stay tuned. Okay, y'all, so I'm going to say that you have already watched my bariatric keto overview video. So I'll link that up here. If you haven't watched that and you don't really have the hang or the idea of what keto is, this may not make a whole lot of sense. So I would watch that first. This is going to be talking about how we figure out what our macros are. And what is a macro? A macro is kind of just like the slang short version word for macronutrient. So those in the keto world, really in any kind of diet world, talk about macronutrients. Macronutrients basically are just the building blocks for our body. They're where we get our energy. It's a chemical compound that we as humans consume for the bulk of our energy. Now, here are the macronutrients that our body has. We have carbohydrates, we have protein, we have fat, we have water, and we have fiber. Yes, water and fiber are macronutrients. They're part of what our body is built up of and uses. However, water and fiber are not important in figuring out macronutrients that our body needs for energy, because they do not help in supplying energy. So we're going to just set those to the side. Three primary, and those are fat, carbohydrates, and protein. Protein is built up of a whole lot of different amino acids, and those are very, very vital to our bodies. They are essential. Essential meaning we cannot live and function without protein. We have to input protein into our body. The next one is fat. Fat is also essential. We have to intake fat for our body to function correctly. We absolutely have to. Our body cannot generate fat. It cannot generate protein. It has to be taken in. We need those amino acids. We need those fats. And one of the reasons for fats is our body runs on hormones. We have so many hormones, and I'm not going to go into science with any of this. I'm trying to not be sciencey at all, but those hormones are vital, and a lot of them are fat soluble, and if we don't have fat, then those hormones are not working right for us, and that's a big deal. So, essential. Fat's essential, protein's essential. You know what's not essential? Carbohydrates. You're like, what, Erica? Obviously our body needs carbs for energy. No, y'all. Our body can figure out how to produce energy. There are all these systems in our liver that I'm not going to go into, because I said I'm not going to do science. I'm just going to leave it at this. Just trust me. Our body can convert our fat and our protein into energy. It does not have to have carbohydrates. Now, if we eat carbohydrates, our body is going to utilize those first, because it's easier for it to break down, and it's toxic. Those two reasons. It's easier for them to break down and be utilized by our body, but also if you give your liver more than our body needs at that moment, it has to do something with it. It has to store it, because it's toxic to have just circulating. It can't be just circulating in our blood system, because it would raise our insulin, it would raise our blood sugar, and super high blood sugars have all kinds of detrimental effects. All kinds. Not going to go into that right now either, but it's a really big deal. So just like if our body ingests alcohol, if we ingest alcohol, our liver has to process alcohol before anything else, because it's toxic. It has to process it. Well, sugar is that way too. Carbohydrates are that way too. If we take in any more than we can use at that moment, our liver has to do something about it. So that's just a little peek on that. And if you want me to go more into the exact science of all of this stuff, I can at some point, but I don't think it's that relevant to the majority of us. The majority of us just want to know, what is it and how do I do it, right? All right, so now we're kind of all on the same page. We all understand that any type of diet is made up of these primary macronutrients. Whether we eat the standard American high fat, high carb, high processed crap diet, the SAD diet, standard American diet, it really is sad. Whether we eat that, or we eat keto, or we eat South Beach, or we eat, I mean, there's a million different diets out there. They all are made up of your macronutrients in some order, right? We understand what macronutrients are, right? We understand it now. We know that every diet is comprised of macronutrients. The keto diet specifically is focusing on a lower carb macronutrient and a higher fat and higher protein. Because we have had weight loss surgery, we're focusing a little bit more on the protein, and we still want to get good quality fats, but the protein is non-negotiable. Remember, your protein amount that your doctor set, or if you don't have that, the one I can help you set, that's non-negotiable. We have to get that every day. Next is carbs. Carbs we're going to set at 20 for at least the first month. We can talk about that later if we want to talk about adding some more in to see if your body handles it. But for now, 20 carbs is what you're set at. 20 carbs, okay? We don't want to go over that. So that's a limit. You don't have to have that much, but you can't go over that. And then fat, the rest of it's fat. For feeling full, for getting rid of cravings, fat lets us feel full and happy. And there's a lot of really good healthy fats out there. So that's how it works. Let's jump into using a calculator. I am going to show you two different calculators. One is ketoconnect.com and one is Keto Chaos, and hers is on Facebook. Ketoconnect.com is great for anybody that wants to just do a regular keto diet, or somebody that's just had like VSG where they haven't changed the absorption levels of anything. There's a little bit of changes with VSG absorption levels from losing that part of the stomach, some of the hormones that are produced. Iron doesn't pick up quite as well, and we have the vitamin regimen that our doctors put us on. We're going to stay with that. Just want to throw that in. There's a few different situations that I would recommend the Keto Chaos calculator and her plan. Hers is high protein, moderate fat, and low carbs. Same 20 carbs. The protein percentages are much higher, and so that makes the fat less. I suggest that for people that have had RNY, DS, have trouble absorbing fats in general. Maybe you've lost your gallbladder. Sometimes it's better to start there, and then as your body gets used to fats, then we can up your fat a little bit more. But that's just, basically I'm saying this just to say there's variety. It also depends on your medical conditions and your health. So the first one that we're going to go through is Keto Connect, and I'm going to try and put it up on the screen here if I can so you can kind of see how this is working. So you see here for the beginning of the calculator, I have to put in my body weight. So I'm going to put in my body weight today at 214. Another thing, just a quick caveat, as we lose weight, we need to redo these calculators if we're going to try and stay within our macros, because if you've lost 30 pounds, your body weight is obviously not the same as when it started. So every once in a while you want to redo these macros. Okay, so my body, I'm using ketoconnect.net, going into their calculator. I'm going to put it up here on the screen. So I put in my body weight, 214, and then enter body fat percentage. Okay, how do you know what your body fat percentage is? The most accurate is to go have a DEXA scan. Now they're expensive, they're hard to find, they're not everywhere. The next easiest way is, I'm going to show you a couple charts here, and I'll tag them down below that I found online. But this is what a lot of the calculators suggest that you do. You look and say, what does my body, which one of these matches my body? And then you kind of guess your fat percentage based off of that. So they're really pretty easy to use. So just look at that. I'm putting mine at 45%. So I put that in. There's a little slide here. There's that little slide, and you put it to what body fat percentage you are. Then we're going to go down, and it's going to say lean body mass output. Because of that, what I'd already entered above, it puts my lean body mass output at 118 pounds or 53 kilograms with a BMR of 1523. A TEF, a BMR is your basal metabolic rate. That's how your body's utilizing energy. So that plus TEF, a thermal effect of food, what energy you use to actually burn the literal food that you're eating, that gives me a combined number of 1,673 calories. That's not my calories yet. We're not done. The next thing is they're going to ask you your activity level. Now, I suggest for this process, especially since we're doing weight loss, I suggest that you put the very lowest. Say, I am completely sedentary. Unless you're working out hard in the gym hours and hours a day, or you're an athlete and are working hours and hours a day, that would really affect this. But for most of us, especially those of us that have had weight loss surgery, we're going to put it as sedentary. Just trust me on that. It comes out more accurate if you do that as far as for weight loss. And then next it says my total, because I didn't change it to burn more calories, it's still saying my total daily expenditure would be 1,676 calories. All right, then the next thing it asks is, do you want to lose weight, maintain weight, or gain mass? All right, I'm gonna say that I want to lose weight, and this is where you put your deficit, which means how many less calories you're gonna be eating, you know, your deficit calories. If you wanted to gain weight, it would be a surplus of calories. We're wanting to lose, so it's gonna be a deficit of calories, because calories do matter at the end of the day, y'all. So I would put the deficit in general at 35% for weight loss. So put it at 35% for weight loss. However, if you are newly out of weight loss surgery and you know you're not going to be able to eat that amount of calories that a 35% deficit would be, let's see, mine at a 35% deficit says I should have 1,089 calories a day. Well, I'm having trouble getting that much in right now, so I'm going to move my deficit up to 46%, and that puts my calories at 905 calories a day. Okay, so 35% in general, if you're able to eat a relatively regular amount, if you can get in the amount of calories the 35% deficit gives you, I would suggest using that. But since I'm only 7 weeks out, I put mine at 46, and then as I'm able to eat a little bit more, I'll change it back to 35. Because I checked both, I'm giving myself that range. So I know I can have up to about 1,100 calories, but I definitely want to try and get the 905 to meet that. Because if I eat any less than that, then it's just too much of a deficit. You really, really need to get to the range that's appropriate for your size and your body. Does that make sense? Hopefully that makes sense. All right, so this next section is where we adjust for protein, okay? So I set mine at 0.7 based off of what my surgeon said, and this is still giving me a little more protein than my surgeon said I needed at a minimum. But if you have had an RNY or a DS, you can set that protein ratio all the way up to 1.35. So again, it depends on what your surgeon recommended. For me, the 0.7 ratio turns out to a protein load of 82 grams, and my surgeon said to get over 70. So I'm going to leave mine at that 0.7. And then it also has daily net carbs. It sets it at 20, and that's where I want you to leave it. If for some reason you want to change that number, you can. You can decide you want less carbs or you want more carbs. 20 is a really good place to start. So just leave that at 20. So here's the next section. Your keto macros are. So it shows them to you right here, and then you push get report. So according to the Keto Connect and all the manipulations that I made, I should have 905 calories. Now we discussed 905 to like 1,100 is really the range. Carbohydrates, 80 kcals, 80 calories worth of carbs a day with just 20 grams. So that would be 8.84%. So that percentage of what I eat. Now remember, we talked about the thing that really, really matters that we're really going to focus on for weight loss surgery, bariatric keto, is protein. So my protein says 330 calories or 82 grams of protein. And that's 36% for me. So 36% of what I'm eating is going to be 82 grams worth of protein. All right, so that's primary. Every single day I have to get that amount. My surgeon gave me a range of 70 to 90, and I'm fine with that range. So 82 is right in the middle of that range, and I'm okay if I get all the way up to like 100 protein. That's really going to be fine for me. So it's, you know, there's a little bit of range, but you can't go below your range. Does that make sense? So there's a minimum, and eventually there would be a maximum, but we don't want to go under. So next would be my fat. The remaining calories would be from fat. So that would be 55 grams of fat, or 54% of what I eat. Now, let's go over one more time. The protein is what really matters. So 82 grams of protein, that's going to be my non-negotiable. Then I'm going to add in carbs, and I want to add in carbs from healthy carbs like veggies, like green veggies, broccoli, cauliflower, asparagus, Brussels sprouts, green leafy veggies, spinach. Spinach is a great one. Next would be fat, and we want to get our fat from as healthy sources as possible. On the screen now is Keto Chaos. She has a Facebook group as well as a YouTube channel. She's really great. Did not have weight loss surgery, like I said, but she follows a high protein plan, a high protein, less than 20 carbs plan. So it's appropriate for many people in the weight loss surgery world. So let's talk about this one. Here's the chart. I'm gonna put it up here in front of my face. So she has a chart, and basically there's a keto for fat loss for females and keto for fat loss for males. She also has charts if you're wanting to be in maintenance or if you're wanting to build. Those are available too on her page. But for the purposes of this video, we're talking about weight loss. So for me, let's go over it. I'm 5'4", so I would go down to 5'4" on the female chart, which is pink, and then it tells you your goals. So for me, on this chart, according to this chart, it would be 1,248 calories, 112 grams of protein, 80 grams of fat, and 20 carbs. That's what she would recommend. And I really, really like this chart. I think it's great. The only change is going to be that we might not be able to eat that many calories, so we can change it percentage-wise back a little bit. So hers is definitely on the high protein side, definitely, but it's not too much protein at all. It's really not. So for so many weight loss patients, this is the calculator that I would recommend for a lot of situations. The Keto Connect one is great also. This one is a little bit higher protein, and it's just she's already done all the breakdowns and just gives averages. So this is the easiest one to follow. So I just wanted to share it too. The next video is going to be how to take that macro breakdown and make a diet out of it. Like go through a day of how you figure out what you're gonna eat. So that's what we'll do tomorrow, and hopefully that will help explain this that much further. I don't want this to get too long, so we'll do that tomorrow. But basically, you're gonna eat your protein first, nice, healthy protein. Again, ketosis, keto is a biological state where your body is burning fat for fuel. It's not exact foods, but certain foods fit into it better. And also, if weight loss is our only goal, the quality is not that important technically of what we eat. But if we want all of the benefits of keto, we want to eat as healthy as we possibly can. We want to feed our body with as much nourishment as possible. We want to stay away from inflammatory foods. So we want to eat the best quality protein we can afford, the best quality veggies we can afford, the best quality fats that we can afford. So that's my little spiel on that, y'all. I hope this was helpful. Please ask me any questions below. Let me know if you want me to help walk through a calculator for you. Alright y'all, let me close this out. I just wanted to say that I originally made this for my Facebook group. I started a new support group called Time to Shrink Bariatric Keto Support Group. It's completely free. It's a closed group. You do have to answer a couple questions to get into it, but we keep it private. Anything that's discussed there, we keep there. It's just for support. I want a safe environment where people feel supported, feel like they can ask questions, and we can help each other and support each other. I think community is just so important. So go check that out. I'll list it down below. I'm originally posting these vlogs on keto there, but then I'm sharing them to YouTube as well. But they will come out first there, and they'll trickle out in YouTube. So if you want to see the next one faster, you can go join that group if you'd like to. If you are not subscribed, I'd love for you to join me and be a subscriber. Join my little keto corner of the internet, bariatric keto corner of the internet here on YouTube. Hit that